price and below manufacturer selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Paid for by government.com.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 50 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-560-6468 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-560-6468. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-560-6468 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-560-6468.
You have to excuse my guy, Kev Nash, over here. He's a little distracted.
Wow.
He a little fired up today. I can't tell if you're excited. They got rid of your boy, Kenny Pickett.
I'm just shocked. I'm shocked that they gave up on him after 2 years, basically a year and a half of playing quarterback with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They realized he wasn't the guy in their eyes. Went and got Russell for a bag of nickels and said, "You're out of here, buddy." Trade swap with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm very interested to see what the trade swap is. And as of right now, my beloved Pittsburgh Steelers only have one quarterback, and that's Russell Wilson. You know, I played quarterback in middle school, by the way. If they need me.
I'm a Browns fan. I'm enjoying watching the Steelers. Just, you know, they're desperate to catch up to the Browns. That's what it is, you know. We welcome you in. Happy Friday, everybody. It's the Kinner and Kev Show here on Dayton's ESPN Radio. The Kinner and Kev Show here on a Friday, the final Friday before Selection Sunday. And the madness has already begun. I mean, Ohio State fired their head coach, Chris Holtmann, unfortunately, with 6 games to go in the regular season. We thought their season we thought they were down and out. And then all of a sudden, they have gone on a tear. They won their quarterfinal game last night. They got Illinois coming up tonight in Big Ten Conference tournament action. We'll talk about that here in a moment. Unfortunately, Dayton's A-10 tournament run, their A-10 tournament drought just continues. They get upset by Duquesne last night, and now their next game will be in the NCAA tournament, their first NCAA tournament appearance in the Anthony Grant era, technically the second because we knew they were going there back in 2020. But let's talk all things March Madness with our next guest. We cannot be more excited to bring on Mr. Clark Kellogg. Mr. Clark Kellogg, welcome, sir. How are you?
K&K, I am good. Actually, I am fantastic. I hope you guys are good as well.
Doing great.
Well, we want to kick off with the big news. I mean, Kenny Pickett traded. No. We talk plenty of NFL.
Yeah, your partner was in his feelings on that.
Definitely.
Clark, who is your NFL team?
Oh, I'm a diehard Browns. I'm a Cleveland native.
Smart man.
I'm a diehard Browns fan. My dad and uncle, late dad and uncle, were both Cleveland police officers, and they would work the games before the dog pound became the dog pound as I was growing up. And I can remember multiple times going down to the old municipal stadium 2.5 hours before kickoff, hanging out with the police officers as they were getting their instructions in their particular areas of supervision. And then I would get stuffed in between a bunch of fans and have hot dogs and hot chocolate screaming my head off for the Browns.
Sounds about right. But smart man, by the way. Love that you're a Browns fan. I'm a Browns fan. Kev's a Steelers fan. I don't know how they paired a Browns fan and a Steelers fan together here in the Cincinnati Bengals area, but we make it work.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
And good people come from all sides of the fandom.
Except the Bengals. I'm not. I can't. Clark.
He's not gonna.
I can't be nice to Bengals fans. They're not nice to me though. So, but hey, we'll talk NFL later, Kev. We'll talk NFL. Hey, so Ohio State. It's kind of wild, Clark. I did not think that at this point of the season we'd be talking about a big game for Ohio State at this point. It just felt like the morale with the program kind of hit rock bottom a bit. And I'm here to tell you, you can ask Kev. I was a huge Chris Holtmann fan. I was really bummed to see that it didn't work out with him at Ohio State. And this isn't an indictment on Chris Holtmann, but I mean, the evidence is there that there's just something different about this team and the job that Jake Dabler has done since the firing of Chris Holtmann. Your overall reaction to Ohio State's run as of late in the post-Chris Holtmann era, just 7 games as Jake Dabler has this team rolling at the right time?
Well, Justin, you touched on it. I'm a huge fan and friend of Chris Holtmann's and was really deflated and disheartened when he was let go because he's what we like to see in the game of college basketball. Terrific guy, really good coach, and things just for whatever reason had kind of stagnated and gotten stale with this particular group. And Gene Smith, the current athletic director, felt that a change was needed to try to salvage something of this season as he felt it wasn't going to get turned around with Chris in the head coaching seat, elected to make the change. Again, it was a hard call for Gene. I'm also close with Gene Smith as a personal friend, and I felt for both of them. I really did, for both them and their families, because that's a hard thing. And Chris had some pretty good success. The last 2 years have been tough. And so it just ended up being what it was. And in light of that, Jake Dabler, I think, is a rising star. I felt that way, whether he would have been the interim head coach or not, because I've seen him work and communicate and recruit and be the associate head coach. So I'm thrilled for him and the staff. But a couple of things happen when a coaching change is made mid-season or during the season. One is everybody's in shock.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Holtmann was the leader. He had a great rapport with the staff and the players, so everybody's numb, and they're in a bit of a haze. And thankfully, they had a few days before they had to get back out on the court to kind of reset themselves emotionally. And then you have Purdue coming in to play, and that can galvanize an arena, obviously the players, and they had that great win. But the other thing that happens when you have a coaching change is the players now have no cover of blame. In other words, they have to become much more accountable to owning the results on the floor. And that has energized this group. They've got to be accountable to each other, and they have to be accountable to owning the results. Because if, in fact, they were not playing their best because of Chris Holtmann and his ways, whatever it might have been, when Chris is removed, then that no longer becomes an excuse or a shield. And now you've got to take ownership of what's going to happen the rest of the way. And to Jake's credit and the rest of the staff and those kids primarily, they've regrouped. There's an urgency that comes with being a fifth-year senior like Jamison Battle is and Dale Bonner are and Zed Key is a senior. Senioritis starts to creep in for guys that know this could be it. And so that can be a positive when directed the right way. The young players have gotten better, and that's always happened under Chris and his staff. Young players, Malachi Branham, a freshman that ended up leaving school after 1 year to go to the NBA, Bryce Sensabaugh. Those guys made change. Those guys improved significantly during the course of their time and ended up being first-round draft choices. That was part of, too, what kind of worked against Chris, to lose 2 players of that ilk that you were expecting to have for at least 2 years and lose them back-to-back. And yet he had still retooled with some young, talented players who are now growing and playing at a really high level. And they've committed to the defensive end of the floor as a group. And they play with a little more pace, and they've also played more people in an effort to try to keep everybody fresh and engaged. And as a result, they're making some pretty impressive noise right now.
Clark, obviously they got Illinois tonight, but let's say they come up short against Illinois. It's one of those things where I know with you hosting the show coming up this weekend, it's one of those things where do you expect to see Ohio State's name pop up on a line if they're not fortunate enough to win tonight, or do you think it's a have to win the Big Ten tournament or Ohio State's not dancing, regardless of the great job that Jake Diebler has done in the interim?
Yeah, my feeling at this point is when you start looking at the math, how many legitimate spots are going to be available for at-large teams? How many teams are going to be strongly considered for what most likely will be 3 to 5 spots with 8 to 10 teams being considered? Would Ohio State be one of those 8 to 10 teams if they don't win tonight? I don't think so. Would they be one of those 8 to 10 teams if they win tonight? The probability is yes, but would they be far enough amongst those 8 teams to grab one of those 3 or 4 spots? And again, this is kind of fluid based on what happens in some of the other conference tournaments. But the fact that Dayton is no longer playing, that's one at-large bid that's gone for any of the bubble teams because Dayton is assured of being an at-large team. You've got a number of other circumstances. Oregon, if they win the Pac-12, they were not going to be an at-large team. But if they win that, then that means another place is squeezed. So there's a couple of scenarios there. So again, the numbers are small. The best guarantee is to win the Big Ten tournament. Winning tonight would position the Buckeyes to be on the radar, but still, I think, outside of that primary group of on-the-stoop teams. So we'll see how it plays out. That doesn't dismiss or take away from what's been done in terms of winning 6 and 7 and the quality of wins they've had. I mean, they beat Michigan State on the road. They've beaten Purdue. They beat Nebraska at home. They go on the road and get another win. So they've done what they've needed to do. Neutral court win against a bubble kind of team in Iowa. Pretty much controlled that game last night from start to finish for all intents and purposes. So trending in a great direction. And I'm hopeful that the revenge motivation factor will kick in a great way for the Buckeyes tonight.
It seems like we say this every year that, oh man, this tournament is wide open, but I really feel like this tournament is wide open due to the transfer portal and, the parity that's going on in college basketball right now. I mean, Mississippi State is about to beat number 5 Tennessee. There's been so many other upsets going on in conference play right now. Is this what we can expect in the tournament?
Well, the only thing we can expect, Kev and Dustin, is that it's always going to deliver. It's never, ever going to disappoint. There are going to be stories that you didn't expect, but you just don't know when, how, or where it's going to happen. It's the beauty of this event, which makes it one of the most special events on the sports calendar. It is guaranteed to have surprises. It is guaranteed to have multiple storylines, and it's guaranteed to be exciting. And there's nothing quite like it. So I don't know how it's going to play out. We've had years when there have been dominant teams that have gotten to the championship game and won it. 2009 Carolina, 2012 Kentucky, Wisconsin and Kentucky were dominant teams in 15. 8 and 9, you had Memphis and Kansas. Everybody thought they were the 2 best teams in 08. They played for the final. They played on the last day of the season. Illinois and Carolina in 05. But we've also had what we had last year, an unprecedented Final Four. Miami, Florida Atlantic, San Diego State, all in the Final Four for the first time ever in their history. So, hey, let's get on and strap up for the ride and enjoy it as it plays out.
We got Clark Kellogg with us here. It's the Kinner and Kev show here on a Friday, our final live show, at least a weekday show ahead of Selection Sunday. We're going to be out at Hollywood Gaming coming up on Sunday from 5 to 7, full reaction, preview, and everything, of course, for the bracket reveal. We're excited about that. But Clark, Dayton, their A10 tournament run, one and done as far as that's concerned. Kind of mixed emotions here in this city with this team right now. This is a team that has just been dying to get back to that run that they were with Archie, where they were going to, 4 or 5 straight NCAA tournaments. You had that magical 2020 2020 year, of course, with Obi Toppin and Jalen Crutcher. And they've been trying to recapture that magic. And at times this year, it has felt like they've been able to do that. But then they just keep, especially over the last month, stubbing their toe against opponents that they should be taking care of. Obviously, nothing's a given in college basketball. But Dayton reeling a little bit right now, kind of heading into the NCAA tournament. I feel like people should be more excited about them heading into this tournament, but people feeling a little bleh right now just because of their recent struggles. This is a big opportunity for them, especially with having a superstar like Deron Holmes, who's going to get to play on the big stage finally.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see what the Flyers are able to do. And remember now, you can have momentum going into the tournament and get popped in the first round. You cannot have momentum going into the tournament and get on a run. So you just have to accept it for what it is. Ideally, you'd like to be on a roll, playing great basketball, but you have to deal with where you are. Get rest, tighten up some things, and be ready for whoever that first round opponent is, and then try to get some momentum within the tournament. Every game is a new entity in and of itself. And the tournament is 2-game tournaments if you're fortunate enough to win your first one. So that's how you have to approach it. Yeah, there's been some inconsistency. Other teams have played well. Dayton has struggled at times to have fluidity on offense. Defensively, I think they've been pretty solid for the most part. So now I think, hey, it's been an outstanding year when you think about it, all things considered. They may have fallen short of their conference championship goals, but they're a tournament team and a tournament team that played a good schedule and will have a chance to advance in the tournament.
Obviously, Deron Holmes, a name that everyone is pretty excited to see play on that big stage, come NCAA tournament time. I'm sure you're prepping and getting ready for the big tournament. You eat, breathe, and sleep college basketball. But what are some other names like Deron Holmes that are out there that you're excited to see get to play on this stage come next week?
Well, there's a bunch of them. First and foremost, the McNeese Cowboys. Keep an eye on them, guys. They've got
writing it down right now.
Player. Yep, write it down. The McNeese Cowboys, I think they've won 30 or 31 games. And Shahade Wells is their leading scorer, dynamic guard. But they've got other athletic impact players with them. You don't win 31 games by accident. I think it's 30. It's 30 or 31. And they're going to be a problem. I don't know what their seed will be, probably in the low teens, 13, maybe 14. But they could be a challenge for whoever they face. I like Florida out of the SEC. They'll be a middle seed kind of team. You've got some other teams that haven't quite qualified yet. A team like Grand Canyon is really impressive. Tarleton State is most likely going to be their opponent in the championship game. They're the top 2 teams in the WAC. Either one of those teams would be worth keeping an eye on when you're filling out your bracket. I'm hopeful Indiana State can make the field as an at-large. I don't know what the odds are for that, but they play a beautiful brand of basketball and have a dynamic twosome in Ryan Conwell and Isaiah Swopes, 2 really, really good guards. James Madison, I'm giving you kind of mid-major teams that have chances to win. James Madison, Terrence Edwards Jr., and TJ Bickerstaff, inside-outside combo that can do damage. So I can't give you all my info and ammo because I got work to do tomorrow, but that's a handful to get you guys started.
Indeed. What do you make about these teams that swept their conference opponents during the regular season that ultimately lost to them in the tournament? NC State beat Syracuse. NKU beat Wright State. Duquesne beat UD. Yeah. What do you make of this?
Hey, it's just the nature of each individual game. Going back to what I said earlier, Kev, each individual game is a different deal. It's a different deal. It's like golf. Every shot in golf is a new game.
You almost made Kenner cry bring it up golf.
Oh, really? He doesn't like golf?
He loves it.
He don't like me.
Oh, he loves us, but it just doesn't always show it.
Yeah, plays hard to get. That's
but
sure.
that can happen again. The whole pre-conference is one type of game. Conference play is another type of game. Postseason is another element, and they're different. And so you see teams have their way with an opponent during the regular season. Some of that could be a function of the schedule. When are you playing them? What has your schedule been? You could be in a stretch where you're playing 3 games in 8 days and the other team has only played twice in 10 days. And so you never know. So you have to look at the full context and then understand that each game is different. The teams change.
Yeah.
This Ohio State team, if you guys saw them in January and February, they look totally different. Totally different. It's a combination of development, energy, all of that confidence. So teams change. Teams transform. Teams add players. Some guys have been out. They've been playing hurt that maybe you don't know about. So all of that stuff makes it as unpredictable as it sometimes is and appears to be.
Clark Kellogg with us here. Clark, appreciate your time here today, so thank you. Want to throw this out there, too. Look, I love, obviously, March Madness. I mean, there's nothing like it, and it's in the air. I love that Dayton's back in the mix. This city, Wright State's been in the tournament, a couple times over the last couple of years. Dayton, has been in the mix, but hasn't made it. It's nice to have another team back in the tournament this upcoming season. We're pretty excited about it, as a lot of people are, but, we can never just leave nice things alone. We just can't have nice things. We always got to change things. There's talks of expansion to the tournament. The college football playoff goes from 4 teams to 12, and apparently they're close to signing something to expand it to 14 or 16. I mean, we never leave things alone. Your thoughts on the talks of the potential expansion of March Madness, of the bracket and everything? I mean, just your overall thoughts on the potential of that, and are you for it, against it? Where are you at with that?
Yeah, I'm actually warming up to the idea. I was adamantly opposed after we went from 2000. When we went from 64 to 68 in 2011, that was the beginning of the first 4, which Dayton has hosted marvelously and quite well over the last dozen years or so. Dayton has a great basketball community, one of the best in the country, and also one of the best venues in UD Arena. I don't think there's a better basketball environment in the country because of the sightlines and also the support of the community. I mean, the entire Dayton community loves and appreciates basketball, and I appreciate their fandom. That said, we continue to expand the number of Division I teams. And because most championships that the NCAA puts on typically have from 20 to 25% of their members participate in the postseason, when you add additional teams in Division I basketball, that percentage can go down if you stay at the same number of teams. That was part of the rationale for going from 64 to 68. It is also part of the rationale for going from 68 to 72 or 76. It would get you to that 22% of teams that will have a chance for postseason. I think that's reasonable. I would never want to endorse expansion beyond that, but a modest expansion for the purpose of taking into account the expansion of Division I basketball teams seems reasonable and makes sense to me. And so I was cold to it for the last several years, but when I looked at the rationale and evaluated it, I think it does make sense. And, not all change is good. All change is inevitable, but some change is better than others. And this seems to me to be a fair, reasonable conversation that ultimately I think before too long will become some reality.
Justin and I have been having this debate for quite some time, and I want your thoughts on it. A shot clock in high school basketball, yay or nay?
I enjoy the shot clock. And since we have it in the other games at the highest level and in the college game, I think it would be good for the game to embrace that. I would be in favor of it. Now, it doesn't have to be a 30-second, although some would argue if you're playing high school ball, those who are going on to college would benefit from a 30-seconder. But maybe you would land at a 35. But I think it would. I always enjoy offense and more possessions. It does take away a little of the strategy if you want to not be privy to, not be confined by the shot clock. But I think for the good of the overall game, the entertainment component of it, I would not dismiss conversation around the high school shot clock. I would, if you made me vote, I would probably vote for it. I don't know if I'd do 30, but I would be in favor of some kind of shot clock.
Another point for me. Thank you.
Keeping a tally, yeah. Keeping a tally.
Indeed.
Good stuff. Clark Kellogg, awesome enough to give us some time today. We appreciate you, sir. What my favorite part, by the way, I love watching your work with Charles Barkley and everything else. I mean, just the laughs that you guys have and just the genuine personalities that are in that analyst booth. Do you know your assignments yet? Do you know who you'll be working with next week, or you just?
I know my assignment before the season even starts, guys. I am parked in the studio come March Madness. That's where I live, New York City, the broadcast center. It's me. This year, unfortunately, Greg Gumbel is dealing with some family health issues, so he won't be next to me for the first time since 1998. But Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley, and myself in week one. The same foursome with Jay Wright joining us for week two and the Final Four. So I know where my home is. I get out and do games during the regular season, a handful, but I'm studio bound once we get to this time of year.
We'll be tuned in.
Absolutely. New York, there's worse places. There's worse places to watch basketball.
Be there, fellas.
You the man, sir. Appreciate you. Thank you for your time.
All right, Justin, Kev. Take care. Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you.
All right, good stuff. Clark Kellogg, awesome enough to give us some time. A lot to unpack from there. Of course, his reaction to Ohio State ultimately moving on from Chris Holtmann and what that has led to now in the situation that they have right now with Jake Deeb, where Ohio State winning last night and have Illinois tonight. We have plenty to unpack as far as that's concerned, but his thoughts on the expansion of the NCAA tournament kind of caught me by surprise. I haven't heard anyone say that they like the idea. He's the first one I've heard that has actually been for it. I understand the concept of, more teams get an opportunity, but I just don't trust that's what that don't mean. What do you mean more teams will have an opportunity? Like more deserving teams or more Power Fives, like or the high majors, if you will. Like that, I guess, is my takeaway.
Yeah, it's ultimately going to be that way, but I like how he brought it up, and I haven't heard anyone that agrees with the expansion say this, because I heard Jim Boeheim talking about this maybe like 3 or 4 years ago about expanding. And I was like, why? Why would you do that? There's so many deserving teams. I was like, well, no, it's not. But he just simply said the percentages. Like if there's more teams in D1 basketball, if you want to keep that 20% mark, you're going to have to keep expanding the tournament. That makes sense as opposed to, there's so many deserving teams. Well, if you got a losing conference record, you probably don't deserve to be in the tournament for a chance to win the national championship. But I like what Clark said about percentage-wise. That makes a lot of sense.
Clark's the man. Appreciate him giving us some time here today. All right. Kenner and Kev live this Sunday, our bracket reveal special. We're going to be live at Hollywood Gaming here in Dayton, 5 to 7 p.m. We'll have, we'll be talking with Clark Kellogg again coming up on Sunday. Again, 5 to 7 p.m. We'll be live at the bracket reveal special, the Kenner and Kev bracket reveal special, Hollywood Gaming on Sunday. The first hour, Kev previewing what to expect with the bracket reveal. And then hour number 2, of course, reacting to the bracket coming out. And excited to see what's going to end up happening with Dayton. We talked with, Joe Lenardi last week, and, we threw out the scenarios of what's the ceiling for Dayton seed-wise, but then we also threw out if they stumble and they don't make a deep run of the A-10 tournament, what's the floor? He said anywhere between an 8, 9, and a 10, and that sounds like what's going to almost, be the case. So when we come back, we'll talk about Dayton's tough loss last night. Funny, when everything I've been saying for the last week, I was a hater, but I noticed a lot of Flyer fans saying the same things I was saying last night. I thought that was very interesting. But Clark brought up a good point. There's teams who have momentum heading into the tournament who get knocked out right away, and teams who don't have momentum end up somehow going on a run. Could Dayton go on a deep run in this NCAA tournament? We have that coming up around the corner. It's the Kenner and Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The forecast, partly cloudy and 36 tonight. Saturday, it's sunny and 62, and Sunday, it's mostly sunny and 49. I'm Rick Shrimp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey, let me tell you about the advantages of driving with my friends at Cordell Transportation. First of all, for the new year, they're offering brand new equipment to drive. They purchased new equipment, and not a lot of people could say that, but they've got it, and they're ready to roll with you. Cordell Transportation is offering an incredible $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months. If you're an experienced Class A CDL driver looking for excellent benefits, home daily dedicated lanes, no touch freights, then apply today online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
I'm Terry Krupp of Laird's Tax and Accounting, serving this area's tax and accounting needs for over 80 years. Tax season is here. We invite you to discover how we can make your tax filing experience easier. Our professional staff assures your return is accurate with maximum use of legitimate deductions. Since our founding, we have been trusted because of our knowledge of the tax code and for standing behind your return if the IRS calls. Contact us at 937-325-6571. Information at lairdstax.com.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
When I got the news, I was shocked.
I was scared. I was angry.
When I heard it could be treated with the right care, I was relieved.
I was happy. I was given a second chance.
Urology Specialists of Ohio offers men peace of mind. 5 physicians and 5 locations. Now accepting new patients. Make an appointment with a physician that cares about your health and prevention. Urology Specialists of Ohio, Beaver Creek, Springfield, Urbana, Xenia, and London. Online at urologyspecialistsofohio.com.
It's that time. Start crunching numbers, downloading forms, and finding all those receipts you've stashed away. Getting frustrated yet? Try crunching this number, 543-5770. Arrowhead Tax Service in New Carlisle. The professionals at Arrowhead Tax Service will take the time to ensure you receive the largest refund possible. Visit today for a free consultation at 113 West Jefferson Street in New Carlisle. All military and veterans save 25% off your tax preparation. At Arrowhead Tax Service, our target is your satisfaction.
Hungry for a great time? Maybe some great food? Then come on down to your neighborhood Submarine House. Try our oven-toasted deli subs, our mouth-watering salads, pizzas, appetizers, and more. And wash them down with a unique selection of craft beers while watching the big game on our big screens. With locations around Dayton, in Columbus, and our newest sports bar in Kettering, you're never far from a Submarine House. Subs, sports, spirits. Submarine House.
There's something magical about unboxing. When you unbox BritBox, you uncover a world of British entertainment. Stream the UK's most brilliant series, including new and upcoming seasons of Shetland, Father Brown, and Death in Paradise. Plus new originals like Payback, Irving Welsh's Crime, and Archie, the story of Hollywood's greatest leading man, Cary Grant. Unbox BritBox and escape to the best of British TV. Stream with a free trial at BritBox.com.
Imagine your team always looking and feeling their best in high-performance technical workwear. Cintas can make it happen. They have garments for almost every job imaginable. And with the Cintas Workwear program, you get freshly laundered garments delivered every week for everyone on your team. Great garments without the bother of laundry. That's a real perk for employees. Find out how Cintas can boost team image and morale. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring today. Robert Half is here to help. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
And we are back. Kenner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio. If you missed our conversation with Clark Kellogg, we have that coming up for you again at 5 o'clock, so just keep that in mind. The show will be cut short today by 15 minutes because we'll be sending it off to Paul Keels and company for more Big Ten tournament action as Ohio State, their Big Ten tournament run continues tonight. I don't know what to make of this Jake Diebler run with Ohio State. So many people are saying, got to give it to him. Keep in mind, they have won 6 of their last 7. You know who won 6 of their last 7 last year? Chris Holtmann. I'm not anti-Jake Diebler. I'm just saying this is a very tough spot for Ohio State to be in. Gene Smith or Ross Bjork, whoever has to make this decision, They have tough decisions to make. I really do not know what to make of that, to be quite honest with you. Because keep in mind, they play hard for Jake Diebler. That's great. But the one thing that Chris Holtmann did really well, he recruited some dudes. Yeah. Those are good players. Chris Holtmann put a lot of guys in the NBA. Chris Holtmann recruited a lot of 4 and 5 stars. Holtmann got some dudes, and he had some. He was in the running to get Bronny. I know Bronny, a lot of people think, okay, there was no chance. Maybe that was more about Ohio State than Chris Holtmann. But I don't think there was a coach out there that was technically going to get Bronny there, but there would have been coaches that would have scared Bronny off from the very beginning of even entertaining the idea. All I'm saying is what Chris Holtmann did really, really well was the recruiting aspect. And I think what Jake Diebler does really, really well is get good players to play hard for him. But can Jake Diebler get good players?
Right.
That's my concern. Dusty May. So 11 Warriors put out an article today. I know we talked to Dave Biddle yesterday. Sean Miller's name has basically been tossed out. Not tossed out as a candidate, but tossed out as in not a possibility. So that's wild. That's a name that kind of threw me off as far as being taken off the docket as far as a potential name. Lamont Paris signs an extension with South Carolina, which I guess Ohio State, although that was a name being thrown out just because he's from Ohio State had expressed zero interest in the Lamont Paris run. So there's do what you will with that. Let's see what other names are. Dusty May. So 11 Warriors put out today. It's between Dusty May and Jake Diebler. And I feel what's that? No, but I still think I don't, again, I'm not questioning these guys' sources. I appreciate the work that they do. I'm not saying it like that, but I think it's kind of silly to say it's between these two teams right now in conference tournament time when there's so much basketball going on that other ADs and even Ohio State's ADs probably aren't, although that might be some of a focus, it's not the only focus. I think that when this basketball season starts winding down more, once you get deeper into the tournament and more teams are knocked out, I still think a sleeper I think a sleeper name is Buzz Williams. I think Buzz has to be in the conversation. That's who hired Buzz was Ross Bjork during his time at Texas A&M. Mm-hmm. So, but as of right now, they're saying Dusty May and Jake Diebler. I have no clue. But with the way things have gone, it wouldn't surprise me to see all of a sudden, Florida Atlantic signs an extension with, Dusty May. But can a school like that afford to pay Dusty May the type of raise to keep him from going to a school like Ohio State and some of these big pocketed schools? I don't know. But we'll see. They have a tough decision to make because like Dave said yesterday, man, if Jake Diebler goes on to be a big-time hot up-and-coming coach and leads some big powerhouse, all of a sudden Ohio State's like, crap, we messed up. Or you keep him and you did exactly what you did with Chris Holtmann and company as far as that's concerned. Ohio State's playing really well right now. Guess what? They played really, really well last year at this time. So I'm not saying I'm not impressed with Jake Diebler. I'm just saying you got to be careful with the ebbs and flows of this.
Absolutely. This is very similar to what happened with our biggest rival, Michigan, way back in the 88-89 season. Their head coach decided to take another job somewhere else, and he was fired immediately for being a traitor. That's obviously not the way things work nowadays in sports, but Steve Fisher took over and led them to the national championship, and everybody was like, oh, man, Steve Fisher is just a fill-in. He's just a placeholder. He's just an interim coach. Well, he went on to win a national championship. Obviously, they brought him back. He was able to recruit guys like some dude named Chris Webber, some dude named Jawan Howard, some dude named Jalen Rose, some dude named Jimmy King, some dude named Ray Jackson. You ever heard of them? They're called the Fab Five. And then Michigan went on to have probably one of the most storied 2-year runs in college basketball. So obviously what Coach Diebler is doing is not to the level of what Steve Fisher did, but this is the opportunity because I'm a firm believer if they go ahead and simply win the Big Ten tournament, if they're able to win this tournament and get into the big dance, you might as well give them the job right there on the spot.
Well, yeah, because getting into the tournament or winning the Big Ten tournament means you would have knocked off Illinois tonight. That's a huge check right there. Yeah. And then that means you would have knocked off Purdue.
Right.
A second time. At that point, okay, yeah, I think the dudes deserved it at that point. But again, getting guys to play hard or being able to recruit. Getting average players to play hard, that's fantastic. But can you get the good players to come in to get them to play hard? Because right now you're getting Chris Holtman's guys to play hard. Who are the Jake Diebler guys? Now that's all up to Ohio State as far as what they're willing to do with NIL. So I can't believe I get to be cool now. A source of mine who's very, very close with Chris Holtman, I talked to him today.
Tapped in
at DePaul. So part of the contract with him is he knew up front. They met with their what are they called? The not donors, but the collectives.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Holtman gets $2 million a year of NIL at DePaul. At DePaul for NIL. Is that a lot or
it's
no?
It's not a lot.
In the Big East, but in the Big East, I'm not saying that like that's at the top, but that seems like a lot for basketball when you only have to. Now, let's be clear. We've heard some numbers for some players on some smaller mid-major teams that blew us away.
Mm-hmm.
We found out some numbers recently from the players on the smaller team that me and you were like, what the hell? So you're right. Maybe it's not that much.
That's not a lot. Like, okay, so DePaul is in Chicago. That's one. Number two, DePaul I won't say only has a basketball team, but you know what I mean. They don't have a football program, and it's a private school. So, I mean, it's a pretty prestigious school as well. So, like, you would assume that the graduates of that school and the boosters of that school got deep pockets. So, $2 million to keep your roster together, I don't think is a lot. I really don't think it's a lot, to be perfectly honest. I mean, obviously, we talk so much football and we talk so much college football. And, you know, Coach Day was talking about, hey, man, it's going to take X amount of millions of dollars just for roster retention. So maybe I'm skewed from that number that Coach Day was talking about. But I don't think that $2 million in NIL to retain players and to go get players is a lot of money. I don't, because, I mean, you got to think like some of these guys that are the Cooper Flagg kid that's going to Duke, he's probably getting $500,000 to go to Duke. like that's big money.
Oh, no. And look, I'm not putting DePaul up there with the Dukes and all that. But again, in Ohio State, I'm assuming he had more NIL money at Ohio State to work with, right? Like, again, I have no clue. I have no idea what Ohio State was putting to the equation. I'm fascinated by this because we talk NIL all the time, and we had I think it was Ryan Day who came out and said how much money was needed just to retain a quarterback, a wide receiver, a defense, and all this stuff. But like, we still don't know what the average amount of NIL dollars it is to put a basketball team together or a football team. Like I said, a very small mid-major team. We found out some NIL totals recently that had Kevin and I like, what in the world? Like, that, are you kidding me? Like, and that's not
disrespect. Work on my jump shot.
Yeah, there's no disrespect to these kids, but good for them. Like, I'm very happy for them. And if these kids are making that, you think about the ratio of like what that is going to be to the bigger schools. So $2 million for Chris Holtman at DePaul is pretty interesting. So, Chris Holtman, he says he knows the AD very well, gave him 6 years, $2 million a year in NIL, and can only go up from 4 and 27. So, and that's what I said too about why that was a safe landing spot for Holtman at DePaul, because of the fact that you're not going to a place that's been winning and you need to keep it going. You're going to a place to get them back to. I mean, look, his very first year at Ohio State, Thad Matta couldn't win with him, but he couldn't get him to the tournament. And then he took him to 3 straight tournaments. He only missed the tournament in 2 of the 7 years he was there. Unfortunately, it was just the last 2 years. And he's turned around Butler. He turned around teams right away. So we'll see what ends up happening when it's all said and done. But I just thought that was pretty fascinating, nonetheless. So, and what Ohio State does with their head coaching position, it will be interesting as well.
Yeah.
All right. Dayton lost last night. And, they're back in the NCAA tournament. That we do know. What's the seed line going to be? Who are the potential teams that they could potentially play? You were writing something down. Did you? My bad. I apologize.
No, you're fine. I just wanted to, obviously Juwan Howard, head coach of Michigan, was let go today after 5 years, along with Jerry Stackhouse, let go from Vanderbilt after 5 years. Just a crazy number. Like you get 5 years, and both are former NBA players. They come back to the college ranks. They get 5 years. Things don't pan out. I understand kind of from the Vanderbilt situation with Jerry Stackhouse, like they never were good under his tenure. But at the Michigan, Juwan Howard, they had a great start. Like those first 3 years were very good for Michigan on the basketball court. These last 2 been rocky, and this year obviously was terrible, and obviously his health issues as well. So both of those guys let go.
With the Juwan Howard thing, that's wild too, because his recruiting started to decline. Way too many not really off the floor issues, but like post game time issues. I mean, the slaps heard around the world, not even slap singular. We're talking plural. His antics just started becoming a little bit too much, and you could overlook that when you're winning. But you're right, though. Him and Chris Holtmann had very similar rises and declines. They both came in hot. Juwan Howard came in, they were winning right away. They were hot. Chris Holtmann came in, Ohio State's winning right away. They were hot. Then they started declining a little bit as far as that goes. Let's talk Dayton Flyers basketball on the other side. They get knocked out. They get upset by Duquesne. They get knocked out by Duquesne last night in the quarterfinal round of the A-10 tournament. And many people thought that this was the year to do it. I picked them to win. Maybe that was it. It was the kiss of death. Kinner, predicting Dayton to win last night. I just thought that they would go out there with the killer instinct, and they didn't. They went out there very flat, and Duquesne just wanted it more. And that seems to be a pattern with this Dayton team. And if they don't go out there in that first game of the NCAA tournament, when we're talking about one and done in the A-10, it could be one and done in the NCAA tournament. But, man, I'm curious people's thoughts on what you guys saw last night, because that was not good. That was not good. But Dayton's not the only top seed that went down last night. No doubt about it. We'll be right back. It's the Kinner and Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Have you ever told a friend
Oh, I'm fine.
when you really felt,
Just so overwhelmed.
or sent a text
Can't sleep. Are you awake?
when you couldn't find the words to say?
I'm scared to be alone with my thoughts right now.
Then this is your sign to reach out to the 988 Lifeline for 24/7 free confidential support. You don't have to hide how you feel. Text, call, or chat anytime.
Veterans, were you exposed to harmful burn pit smoke while serving overseas? The Department of Veterans Affairs has recognized and is providing benefits to veterans who suffer with asthma, rhinitis, and sinusitis as a result of burn pit exposure. If you served in the Southwest Asia Theater of Operations or Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Syria, or Djibouti, and suffer from any respiratory illnesses that you believe is a result of exposure to burn pits, contact the Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
The Big Hoopla Free STEM Challenge returns to the Dayton Convention Center Sunday, March 17th. Experience the passion for college basketball and the power of STEM education. Enjoy award-winning science entertainer Mr. C, performances by Eric Energy, and compete in the basketball hot shot to win prizes. K through 8th graders may pre-register for the Free STEM Challenge championed by Wright State University at DaytonHoopla.com. It's the Big Hoopla Free STEM Challenge, Sunday, March 17th.
Frickers tips off the season with a trio of fan favorites. Frickers Street Tacos are back for a limited time. While you enjoy the march to the national championship of college basketball on Frickers TVs, you'll savor the flavor of 3 Frickers Street Tacos. Frickin' Chicken Tacos, Grilled Chicken Tacos, and Mississippi Barbecue Tacos are back for a limited time. While your brackets get busted, smash a personal pitcher of domestic draft for only $6.99. Hurry before time runs out at the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Frickers.
It's time, basketball bettors. It's March Mania. Justin Kinner here to tell you about BetUS.com. I endorse one sportsbook and casino, and that's BetUS.com. They've been driving to the basket for over 30 years. This year, BetUS has an epic three-pointer, a 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. That's right, the industry's craziest 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus, 10% gambler's insurance. And there's even more. BetUS accepts crypto and is offering a massive 200% crypto sign-up bonus. Gambler's insurance and crypto. You don't see that everywhere. March Mania basketball can get even more exciting with their live in-game betting. It's also a blast to check out their casino after the game, where you could get a 250% casino bonus. Get started by visiting BetUS.com or give them a call at 1-800-MyBetUS to learn about all of their bonuses and special offers. BetUS, where the game begins.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
We expect our information in real time. US Med carries continuous glucose monitors, which provide real-time readings of blood glucose levels. US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 500 private insurers. So call 888-665-0696 today for a free insurance and Medicare benefits check as easy as that's 888-665-0696.
Starting March 18th for 3 days only, shop limited time doorbusters during Lowe's MVP's bonus days. Buy one Metabo HPT 15-degree roofing nailer. Get one box of Metabo HPT 1 1/4-inch collated roofing nails free, a $49.98 value. Plus, save $39 on a Little Giant A4 6-foot 300-pound step ladder. Shop these deals and more while supplies last. Lowe's knows pros. Valid 3/18 through 3/20. Selection varies by location.
For 65 years, Menards has been the one-stop shop for post-frame buildings. Whether it's protecting equipment or you just need a place to keep your toys, Menards has a post-frame building for you. Design your post-frame building and save big. Plus, get free estimates fast, in-store or online with our design programs. Check out more of our great deals going on now at Menards and Menards.com.
Save big money at Menards.
Check the Wendy's app for crazy burger deals. Limited time offer at participating U.S. Wendy's. Redeem in Wendy's app. Account registration required. See offer in Wendy's app for details.
This Sunday, Hollywood Gaming, the Kinner and Kev Show bracket reveal special. We'll be live at Hollywood Gaming, 5 to 7 p.m. Come on out. Thanks to our friends at the Big Hoopla. They provided us, of course, with some giveaways as well. Hollywood Gaming going to give us some giveaway items. We'll be giving away some Reds tickets. That's right. The Cincinnati Reds season's coming up just around the corner. We got good seats, too.
Good seats.
Good seats. And you could be sitting there clapping, smiling, following along. Be a great time for you. Be a great time for you. What?
One day, you know what? We need to do a podcast to explain that.
I don't know if we can explain that one.
Well, we have the audio.
Yeah, but are we going to do him like that? That's kind of mean.
He won't listen to our podcast, will he?
I don't know.
Because I want people to get the inside joke.
That one was pretty. I'll never forget that day. Shout out to Woody. Woody, if you're listening, man. Woody kills it with Nancy on K99. I want to give Woody a shout out, but I think if Woody's listening, and he listens from time to time, he'll catch some of our stuff.
Oh gosh!
So Woody knows what he knows exactly what that reference was to,
and we can have him on, and we can talk about it.
Oh, that was so cringe that day.
It's amazing that all three of us were listening at the same time in different areas. Obviously, Woody was in the studio. I was in my car. Where were you when you heard it?
I was right here. Oh no! I was not. I was actually in my car heading to Wright State to do an event. It was Woody. Woody was working that day when that happened. Aaron Woods. Shout out to Aaron Woods. Woody on K99. Shout out.
And
to
we
Aaron.
all had the same reaction.
And he didn't stop. And it was one of those, like, it was one of them great takes too. Like, he felt very confident about that take. And I'm like, oh no. He was at the 30, the 20. the 10 and then holding before he got into the end zone.
Oh, spectacular.
All right. What was also spectacular last night, or maybe not so spectacular, the A10 tournament tipped off, and well, technically tipped off a couple days ago, but the higher seeds were in action last night. And how about this? So Richmond, the 1 seed, gets upset by St. Joseph's. They lose to St. Joe's, right? And I get on social media. We were on the air, and Dayton fans letting St. Joe's have it. They're still upset about the sharing of the Co-Player of the Year award, whatever.
Richmond.
What did I say?
St. Joe's.
St. Joe's beat Richmond. So they were giving Richmond crap because Richmond lost and got upset. And how could you have a Co-Player of the Year and not have him lead you to victory? And I said, and I remember tweeting out, I said, hey, you guys might want to, based on your history in the A10 tournament, you might want to sit this one out. Oh, there you go. You're just rooting for him to lose. No, it's that thing called common sense. You just might want to sit this one out of poking fun at Richmond for losing. Then VCU goes down.
Another one.
In double overtime or overtime. I think it was double overtime. I mean, the game started late for Dayton because of that one. So then Dayton, ends up, not VCU didn't lose. I'm sorry. Loyola. It was Loyola and St. Bonaventure goes down. Loyola is ahead of Dayton in the state. They're the 2 seed. So Loyola ends up losing in that overtime, class. That was a great game between them and St. Bonaventure, by the way. Give, the Bonnies some credit. So Dayton fans letting Loyola fans have it. Dayton fans letting Richmond fans have it. And I said, you might want to sit this one out until after your game based on how things go. They were a 6.5-point favorite. They moved to a 7.5-point favorite. And then the game tipped off. A little late, but it officially tipped off. And Duquesne, they led at half 30-28. Deron Holmes did his thing like he does each and every single night. But the problem is no one else stepped up. The team came out flat. How do you come out flat every single night? Every single night they are battling from behind. They are having to fight to come back, trailing. And that stuff gets old, man. Like, that team's too damn good. That's too damn good. Like, Anthony Grant recruits well, develops these guys to a certain extent, but at the same time, never has this team fired up and ready to play to start a game. And why did I pick them to win yesterday? Because I said, you know what? I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I said that Dayton has been so good all year that I think when you are the only top 25 team in a mid-major conference, sometimes, we watch them when they got up to play LSU, when they got up to play the really good teams in the non-con. We watch them elevate their game to play those teams. And then I watch them struggle to beat St. Louis at home. And then, you know what I mean? Then I see them struggle to beat Longwood. And I know Longwood's a tournament team, but stop it. We're not you know what I mean? It's one of those types of things. So I'm like, you know what? It's hard to be a top 25 team and to get up every night to match the intensity of unranked opponents who are bringing their A game every night because they are hunting you. But that's where coaching comes into play. And that's why I've been critical of Anthony Grant, because he continues to fail at getting this team fired up and ready to go. There is no reason why they should have came out flat last night, especially against Duquesne. That is the A10 tournament. You got through the regular season. You navigated through it. You fought through it. You're ready to go. Boom, let's hit the ground running. That did not look like a team that is on the cusp, that was chasing an A10 championship. That did not look like a team that's on the verge of playing in their first NCAA tournament game in 7 or 8 years. That's a problem. I'm not hating. If you are a Dayton Flyers fan and listening to everything I'm saying, and you're mad at me for what I'm saying and not agreeing with me, I mean this respectfully. That's on you. You have the problem, not me, because you should be holding your team to that standard and expectation as well. Why would you make excuses for your team coming out flat every night? Your team comes out flat in the NCAA tournament right now. Joe Lenardi has them drop down to a 9 seed. They'd be playing Boise State. Kev, they're losing to Boise. The Dayton at this point is going to lose to whoever they play in this opening round because they don't come out ready to play. Now, I say that. I'm going to keep my theory that I had last night and move it to this next tournament game, whether they play next Thursday or next Friday or possibly Tuesday or Wednesday. Let's not rule that out. First 4. Let's not. I don't think they're going to drop to an 11. All right, but that was not an impressive performance from them. I'm disappointed in how they looked in that contest last night. Not just because they lost, but how they looked doing it. So, at the end of the day, Anthony Grant, that coaching staff, they have to figure out a way to get this team to give a crap when the ball is tipped, because that's unacceptable. It's not because it was one game, Kev. It's every game. Every game they're having to fight from behind. It's unacceptable. Especially, no offense to Duquesne, another 22-11, but 22-11. Is a good record, but the gap, the talent gap, the net rankings, the top 25 ranking, there's so many gaps between the two. I know we talk about parity and stuff, but Dayton fans love to throw numbers in my face. Well, I need you to use those same numbers when things don't go well for Dayton. You need to use those same numbers to say, yeah, why are we losing to these teams? Why are we not blowing these teams out? Why are we not winning an A10 tournament game? it's wild to me, Kev. Now, good for the A-10. You saw teams that knew that their postseason lives were on the line. They came out hungrier. St. Joe's came out hungrier than Richmond. Duquesne came out hungrier than Dayton. Loyola or St. Bonaventure. Loyola played hard. They had multiple chances to win that, but St. Bonnie came out firing away. VCU, the only top 4 team last night to be able to hold off an opponent, and they won comfortably 73-59.
Yeah, man. I think it's as simple as this with UD, and it's been part of the reason why they lost the couple games that they did lose this season. Duran's going to get his. He's going to get his. It just depends on the outside shooting.
Yep.
Are you going to knock down shots? And last night they did knock down 3-point shots, 7-26. You knock down 3 more of those. You go 10-26. You win the basketball game. You got to knock down your shots because he's getting doubled and triple team. He's swinging it out. You're making the hockey pass to the wide open guy. You're not making the shots. You're not making the shots. So if you need to go get more shots up at the gym, you need me to come down there and help you rebound some shots, I'm available. You got to knock down the shots. It's as simple as that for me. I mean, when you talk about coming out with the aggressiveness or whatever, these dudes missing wide open shots. Like, it wasn't like I want to give Duquesne credit because they hit their shots, but it wasn't like, oh man, they're playing lockdown defense. Like, shoot, they got Dennis Rodman out there. No, that wasn't the case. They would get it down to the round in the post. They would double. You would kick it out. They would swing it to the wide open man and they miss it. Like, I'm not sure what coach can do to make them make the wide open shot. You're missing wide open shots. And you know what? As well as they play at home, you can't do that in the tournament because a lot of these tournament sites don't have a lot of fans in there. Obviously, depending on what time you play. If you're like the 11:30 tip, you think it's going to be jumping in there like it's a 9:00 game down to the arena? It's not. It's going to be crickets in there. So we talked about this a ton during the height of COVID about packing your own energy, bringing your own energy. I'm not sure it's the coach's responsibility to be the hype man in the middle of the pile, getting the guys hype. That's collectively on the guys on the team that actually go on the court. That's on the leadership of the guys on the court. Coach is supposed to be there. Hey, man, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. This is that, draw up the plays, yada, yada, call timeouts in necessary situations, all that type of stuff. You as a player have to bring your energy. If that's the problem, that's on the players. And then knocking down the shots, I mean, it's peaks and valleys. I mean, we see the numbers when they shoot at UD Arena. You leave them wide open, you might as well turn around because it's going in. On the road, it's less than a 50-50 situation. Guess what? These tournament games ain't at UD Arena. I wanted them to win so bad. I wanted them to win this A-10 tournament so bad and had a momentum going into the tournament. But it's like Clark said, there's a lot of teams out there that win the conference tournament and lose the first round. So, all right, now it's officially do or die. This is it. We are now at the point where you lose, season's over. Some guys are going to the NBA. Some guys are hitting the portal. Some guys are coming back to UD. This is going to be the last time that this group is going to have a chance to play together. So one more loss, season over.
Where are you guys at with that, by the way? And Kev's not wrong and I'm not right or wrong. It's two different opinions on this. I'm curious people's thoughts, like the coach's responsibility, because I feel like in media too, we throw out things like coach's responsibility to have them ready to play. We say things a lot like that. I watch, getting a chance to kind of sit back and watch a team this year I traveled on the road with to kind of see how they get it. It's amazing the different things that teams do while on the road to try to shake it up. Hey, we're in a good energy right now. We're not going to do a long shoot around. Let's just, they're locked in. They're zeroed in. Like, hey, we're going to move our shoot around time. Hey, we're going to move what time we eat. Hey, we're going to change this up. Like, there's a lot of things coaches do to help get their teams ready to play. And obviously, we should have had breakfast earlier this morning. Damn, I guess we're going to lose tonight. But I'm just saying, like, coaches believe too that they have to mix things up to kind of get them, more locked in, I guess, if you will. But at the same time, so I hear that a lot. Well, coach can't go out there and shoot and make the shots for him. And, it's up to the players. Well, Juwan Howard was fired today. Juwan Howard wasn't out there missing shots and not playing hard and not being good enough and all this stuff. So it's like, I get what you're saying, but it's like, we can use that excuse for every coach that's ever been fired or try to be held accountable from that perspective. But you are right, too. It does come down to the players. The players are supposed to be out there knocking down shots. Dayton is so up and down from three. They're one of the best three-point shooting teams percentage-wise, but they are not consistent enough, and they play such a slow-tempoed offense. I loved the way they played when they beat VCU the other night. I love that they scored in the 90s. They got the ball. They pushed tempo. They ran. Hell, they won it overtime because when they'd get that ball, they pushed tempo.
And you saw Coach doing the wind up thing, and I saw him doing that last night, and they weren't going. They weren't getting to the secondary breaks, and I'm like, why are we not pushing the ball? Go. They can't set a defense. A layup is a lot easier than a three. Let's get a layup. Let's get a dunk. And it wasn't pushing of the rock. You're playing into Duquesne's hands at a slower tempo because the slower tempo helps the less talented team. The better team, the more talented team should play faster. So I don't know. Coach will have to figure it out. Coach has to figure it out. We need him to figure it out. Look, I'm looking for a long tournament run. I need something to talk about on these airwaves.
Yeah, because I don't think the Buckeyes NIT run hits as hard as Dayton going on a run.
Go Bucks.
As far as that's concerned. Look, I do think there's a lot of pressure on Anthony Grant and Dayton to win in this tournament now. This is the unfortunate thing. A year ago at this time, when everyone was so salty and upset that this team wasn't going to be a tournament team, all they cared about, I don't care about next season. All that matters is be a tournament team. Well, they're a tournament team now, and now fans are frustrated and they're rightfully so. My thing is this: you had Tumani Kamara last year. You've had Tumani Kamara for a little bit. You had Tumani Kamara and Deron Holmes last year. You had Deron Holmes this year. You had Deron Holmes for 2 years. All right, and you have no regular season title to show for it. You have no A10 tournament to show for it. You have an NCAA tournament appearance, although it's lost its shine over the last couple of weeks. If you don't get a win, this is the stuff that I have been so frustrated with. I know fans come at me all the time. Look at all the guys he's putting in the league. And I'm like, you're making my point. You're acknowledging all this amazing talent that he has had and not really anything to show for it. National Coach of the Year, Obi Toppin, National Player of the Year, fantastic. That was 1 year. This is year 7, and we have seen 6 years of this style of inconsistent basketball in one elite. That's what's that word we used to like to use? An outlier. 2020 is becoming more and more like an outlier every year. That's why we talked with Kellogg earlier. It felt at times we were embarking on a little of that magic from 2020. Well, they made it disappear because that we haven't felt that magic in a while. I'm saying all this not as a hater. Like we talked about with Clark earlier, they very well could flip a switch. They can get that big win. You know, this is a team that's a top 25 team that's just been kind of playing with its prey a little bit, with its food a little bit. Maybe this is this is a team that's going to play hard because it's the NCAA tournament, but that's also not a good look either that, this is the only time you're going to play hard. We'll see what happens. They're still a good team. Top 25, be damned. Who cares? I guess the plus side is you get a week to rest. You get Bennett back. You get some of these guys rested up a little bit. But you made a good point, too. When they play slow tempo, you're allowing bad teams to set up defensively to stop Deron Holmes. If Deron's running the floor and Elvis and Brea and Bennett, these guys are pushing tempo and Cheeks and these guys, they're getting that ball and going. And they're not allowing a bad team to get back in transition. Use your athleticism.
To load up in the box. Obviously, Keeper, man, he's a very good coach. This is LeBron's high school basketball coach, coached at Akron. So, the minds are out there on the court. Like this is tournament time. The guys have been doing the scouting and stuff like that, and they know, all right, man. Well, if we triple team them and they're not hitting shots, we're going to continue to triple team them. We're going to give him a whole bunch of different looks when he's on the block and stuff like that. If they're not hitting, he can go get his 20. We can foul him. He can go to the free throw line 18 times. He hit 15 of them. Guess what?
Boom.
It's not going to work that way. It's a team sport. Guys got to knock down shots. Minimum 10 threes, man. You got to hit 10. If you're shooting 26 threes, you got to hit 10.
So, yeah, and again, last night, Dayton goes down, gets knocked out in the quarterfinals of the A10 tournament. They lose to Duquesne 65-57, put 57 points up. What are we doing? And that's not all because it's a poor shooting night. It's because also look at you're not getting a lot of shots up. It's just wild to me. You have too many good athletes. And by the way, last year I defended Anthony Grant slightly on the slow tempoed offense because they didn't have depth at guard play. They had 2 really good bigs down low. So I said, well, they're slowing the tempo down because you don't want to play at such a fast tempo when you don't have depth at guard because they were banged up, right? So I said, well, they're playing that slower tempo because they want to keep their guards fresher and just try to utilize in the half court, utilize Tumani Kamara and Deron Holmes. Well, this year they have guards. They have depth.
Yeah.
And they're choosing to still slow it down. They're making it easy for teams to stop. So let's look at the bracketology here for what Joe Lenardi has just recently released. So after that loss last night, Dayton drops to a 9 seed, okay? So with dropping to that 9 seed, this is what they're potentially looking at in that, not 8, 9. So they'll be playing Boise State. Like, and let's look at so if Dayton's a 9 seed, just throwing out the teams that are in the mix for this, these are the teams that they would have to play. Boise State, potentially Nebraska, potentially Texas. All right, you go down to the other side, Northwestern. All right, Colorado State.
Didn't they play Northwestern earlier this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that did, they didn't come out outside there. Florida Atlantic, TCU. Like, folks, there's not one team in that group of teams I threw out there that I feel confident that they could beat. They can't even beat Duquesne. They couldn't, that's a problem. And I'm not hating. And this is why, on social media, I know if I post my opinion, it just turns into a crap, show as far as the stuff that people throw out there. But I'm not yelling. I'm not raising my voice. I'm not, slandering anybody. I'm not a fan of the coach. I don't think he does a good job with this group. I think he does a good job getting good players to come here. NIL helps with that too. But at the end of the day, you got to get a tournament win, Anthony Grant. You have to get a tournament win because regular season title, nope. A10 tournament title, nope. Get to the tournament, but if you don't get a win, that means what did you win this year? You didn't win anything this year if they don't get at least some kind of run in this NCAA tournament. I think that is very, important as far as that's concerned. So Brian Hetzel says, what guard depth? Smith is out and Brady Ewell. Folks, I'm here to tell you, I'm here to tell you the Malachi Smith thing. Can we stop? I'm not a Malachi Smith believer from a player perspective. I have nothing against him. I'm just saying he can't shoot. He's not fast enough to take you off the dribble. Good defender. But what, I don't know in today's college basketball. I guess he would play Anthony Grant's style of slow tempo very well then from that perspective. But he's not a guy. He's not Scoochie by any, I guess that'd be another guard as far as that's concerned. But yeah.
Look, man. People got to get off of this. They got to get off of this. Look, man, these dudes is 21, 22 years old. 40 minutes of basketball is nothing. It's nothing. Mm-hmm. It's nothing, man. These dudes can play for hours on end. They got 1 million TV timeouts. It's the tournament. No. I'm not buying that.
And
I'm
trust me, as a fan
that
in calls games, there's a lot of stoppage in play.
Oh man, they look, man. Come on, dude. Okay, maybe Duran gets tired because he's carrying all the luggage for the team. He's banging. He's getting double teamed. He's way bigger than everybody else on the team. But the guards that are 6'1" and 6'2", they're fine. They're A-okay. And 29 minutes, 34 minutes. 32 minutes for the guards. They're fine. They're fine. And guess who will tell you they're fine? Them.
Yep.
They'll tell you they can play the whole 40 because they're hoopers. They don't want to come off the court.
And they're not playing fast.
They're fine. They're A-okay. They're perfectly fine playing 40 minutes.
And you're not allowed to use Brady Ewell as they're not very deep because they have Brady Ewell. Then they shouldn't have given him a scholarship. He was a walk-on that they gave a scholarship to. So maybe instead of using that as a PR type of thing to get the social media buzz that they did of, they surprised him with this. If he's good enough for the scholarship, then great. You should be expected to go out there and contribute. And he does a good job. I'm not knocking the kid. But don't sit there and say, they're not very deep. They have Brady Ewell. Well, Anthony Grant thought he was good enough to give him a scholarship and to take, you know what I mean? So that's no shot at that kid. I'm just saying, you can't say that. You can't praise when they give you that stuff, give them the scholarship and all that. I don't know. Nonetheless, let's close out. We'll come back in a couple minutes and we'll do one more. Kev wanted to talk about this Kenny Pickett.
Do I?
Do you need to want to talk a little Kenny Pickett?
We can.
We'll talk a little Kenny Pickett.
I'll allow it.
All right, but nonetheless, all right. Let's see. Brian Hetzel says, "I'm just quoting Kinner saying we have depth. You have players. You're not light on the bench. What are you talking about? You have a 7-man, 8-man rotation. You're fine. What do you want, 9 or 10? Brian, what do you want? I don't understand what you're talking about there." Adam Selzner says, "Preach, Kev. Preach."
Amen.
So there's that. Tim Minnick on Facebook. Tim says, "Anthony is a good recruiter, but his X's and O's offensively are abysmal, like watching paint dry, as far as that's concerned." Look, Anthony Grant knows more basketball than I'll ever know. I'll never sit here and be that ignorant of a radio host to say I know more than Anthony Grant at basketball. But what I do know is results. So he knows way more basketball than me, but I know the results on the floor, and the Dayton expects more results, and that's really what this comes down to. Brian does say, they play harder as an underdog. That I agree with. I think when Dayton has the top 25 number, I said before, their biggest problem this season is the number in front of their name. If that number was never in front of their name and they're just battling it out with a 20-win Richmond and a 20-win Loyola, I'm not judging this team as harshly, if you will, as far as that's concerned. So, all right.
Fair.
Kenny Pickett was traded. That caught Kev by surprise.
Wow.
The Browns hired a new advisor today, a former head coach that many believed was going to be the biggest sought-after head coach candidate in the offseason. That was a big addition for the Browns, nonetheless. But we got some NFL news and notes when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
You can make the decision right now to get lasting relief from that awful joint pain for 2024. Don't go another year compromising because of that pain in your knees or shoulder. Call QC Kinetics now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative non-surgical pain relief. Your body has what it needs to restore and repair that damaged joint tissue. And QC Kinetics can make it happen. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. The future of pain treatment has arrived, and QC has tens of thousands of satisfied patients all over America. People with back pain, hip pain, any pain associated with arthritis or an injury. This is not a Band-Aid. This is a revolutionary treatment that can get you moving again. Get your life back. And listen, it's non-surgical. If this is the year you decide to fight back against that pain, take the first step now. Call QC Kinetics. Get a free consultation on your calendar today. Call 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
My name is Chris Epley, the presiding and administrative judge on the Ohio 2nd District Court of Appeals. Prior to being elected, I spent most of my career in the trial court, the appellate court, and teaching appellate law to UD law students. I was born, raised, and married in Dayton, and my family is active in the community and volunteering. It's been an honor serving the 6 counties that make up our court. I'm on the ballot again March 19th, and I ask for your vote, Chris Epley for Court of Appeals. Paid for by Epley for Court of Appeals.
Frickers tips off the season with a trio of fan favorites. Frickers Street Tacos are back for a limited time. While you enjoy the march to the national championship of college basketball on Frickers TVs, you'll savor the flavor of 3 Frickers Street Tacos. Frickin' Chicken Tacos, Grilled Chicken Tacos, and Mississippi Barbecue Tacos are back for a limited time. While your brackets get busted, smash a personal pitcher of domestic draft for only $6.99. Hurry before time runs out at the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Frickers.
Ohio's public schools are safe, welcoming learning environments where everyone can thrive, no exceptions. Thanks to the nearly 120,000 public school educators in the Ohio Education Association. We are dedicated professionals who deserve respect, a living wage, and a seat at the table when decisions are made. And we're using our united voice to demand the supports and resources our students need to succeed. Because in Ohio, public education matters.
Hey, let me tell you about the advantages of driving with my friends at Cordell Transportation. First of all, for the new year, they're offering brand new equipment to drive. They purchased new equipment, and not a lot of people could say that, but they've got it, and they're ready to roll with you. Cordell Transportation is offering an incredible $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months. If you're an experienced Class A CDL driver looking for excellent benefits, home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freights, then apply today online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring today. Robert Half is here to help. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
Coming to you live from the Superbook Sports Studios in Kettering. You're listening to Dayton's ESPN Radio.
We have Ohio State basketball coming up at 5:45. We'll be handing it off to Paul Keels and the Buckeye broadcasting crew, of course. Ohio State and Illinois tonight. Can the wild finish to the season for Ohio State continue? I mean, Kev, the wild thing about Ohio State, they're not just winning, they're blowing teams out. Like, they're like barely like a 1.5 favorite, 2.5 point favorites here and there. They're blowing everybody out. You know, they beat obviously Purdue, who they were a dog against, and won, you know, in a close one. But you know, tonight, let me see what they are tonight as far as that's concerned. But yeah, top 25 Illinois, they're taking on. Like, I'm not saying I don't believe in Ohio State. I think, you know, I thought that they were really good coming into the season. They were beating good teams in November and December. Like, I don't think that they're a bad team. I think that they were playing poorly, obviously, but I don't think they're a bad team. I think that this is what they were expected to be doing all along. Unfortunately, they just moved on from Chris Holtmann a little bit too late, but nonetheless. So last night, beating Iowa 90-78. 90-78 as far as that's concerned. So Iowa. There's that. But Kenner and Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio, 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation as far as that's concerned. So Illinois, Ohio State, 6:30, the tip-off tonight. But they are a 5.5 point dog tonight.
We got this.
They cover.
We
they
got
win.
this.
They
we
win.
win this. We win this. We lose tomorrow. We win today, lose tomorrow. We run out of gas tomorrow.
I think the urge is like Illinois is in. Illinois is going to be one of the top. Like Illinois is a very good team. They're going to be fine. I think that it's one of those. If Illinois wins the Big Ten tournament, great. They're going to go out there and compete and play hard. But like Ohio State, they need to win it. They want to win it. So we'll see what happens. But all right. Steve Statler says Buckeyes beat Dayton all day long. Well, yeah. I mean, I like Ohio State right now just because how hot they're playing. But Deron Holmes would still be the best player on that floor at the end of the day. As much as I love Ohio State, like Deron Holmes would be the best player on that floor.
Pencil in at 20-10.
A lot of big stuff happening in the NFL today and yesterday. How about Eckler being traded away from the Chargers for a 4th-round pick? And I started saying this, forgetting where the hell they sent him to. So Kev, bail me out. Who the hell did they send? The Commanders? Is that where they sent him to?
Yes,
the Commanders. That sound about right? I had my notes pulled up and then I exited out of them and I'm like, my goodness, there's just so much going on right now. But that was big news that happened yesterday. Basically, Justin Herbert has nobody to throw to. And what this screams is, well, you know what? J.J. McCarthy last year didn't throw the football, so maybe Harbaugh's saying, you know what, Herbert, you're going to pay you a lot of money just to hand the football off the entire time. Who knows? But he has nobody to throw to right now. Quentin Johnson, I think, is their number one wide receiver. I mean, they're going to take a wide receiver at 5. I think they're just going to have a young wide receiver group, and they put all their money on the defensive side of the ball. And I'm going to say this about Justin Herbert, like what I've said about Joe Burrow. Hey, we gave you a lot of money. You need to go do it with these guys. Like if Justin Herbert is in that same ilk of Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, we've watched Patrick Mahomes win with not a lot of talent around him offensively. Justin Herbert, you need to go earn your money. You need to show that for one season you could bail us out in some games. Now to his credit, he did last year. He put up really good numbers with a bunch of guys injured. He had a bunch of practice squad guys around him for a good chunk of time before he went out injured. So we'll see. I thought that was an interesting move. Only getting a 4th-round pick for him, though, was kind of wild.
That's about right. I think that's
for
about
Eckler?
right.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean,
I'm not very good at evaluating like what draft compensation. Yeah.
So I think this is a thing that we all do as fans.
Keenan Allen to the Bears. What have I been saying?
Yeah. No. Austin Eckler, he signed a deal with the Commanders. Yeah.
Oh, but Keenan Allen to the Bears.
He
Matt
got traded to the Bears. Yeah.
Okay, Matt. Thank you.
They released Mike Williams.
Oh, okay, Matt. Thank you. Bailed me out there. Whew. Matt's our producer for the day. MVP to Matt. Matt, thank you. Yes, Keenan Allen. What the hell was I saying? I need to stop drinking while on the air. It's coffee, folks. Wink, wink. But Keenan Allen, a 4th-round pick to the Bears. My apologies. Keenan Allen being traded to the Bears.
I think that's about right. I mean, we always do this for a guy that's on our team that we want to get rid of. We always say we can get a 2nd round for him, maybe a 3rd. Because we know deep down inside that, hey man, a 2nd round pick is very good. A 3rd rounder, shoot, he's going to be in the rotation. But we have this kind of nation with, all right, man, 4th, 5th round, those guys aren't any good. He did so much for us. He's worth this. No, about a 4th round pick, considering his age and stuff like that. So I think that's about right. As far as what the Chargers are going to do in the draft, I think they draft Bowers at 5 because obviously Marv is going to go probably 4th or number 1. Some people saying Marv is going to go number 1 and, he'll stay with the Bears with Justin Fields, but Marv will be gone. So the 2nd receiver on the board is Neighbors out of LSU. Neighbors is a smaller wide receiver. Harbaugh likes big wide receivers. the big wide receiver is going to be gone. So maybe if they do draft a wide receiver, it'll be Rome Odunze from Washington. So I think it's either Bowers or Rome at 5 for them.
So, and one more time, Matt, thank you. I appreciate it. And you know why I appreciate Matt? Because you know what happens sometimes when a radio host says the wrong thing? This guy's an idiot. And maybe Matt was saying that as he was typing it, but I'm envisioning Matt's a nice guy. But shout out to Matt for correcting me and not calling me a name because, you know, social media, that's what it's for, is to call people names. But shout out to Matt. So yes, Austin Eckler was a free agent that went to the Commanders. Keenan Allen traded to the Bears for that 4th round pick. You're right. People are talking about the fact that the Bears might go get Marvin at 1. There is talk of that, which would be wild, which means you're keeping Justin Fields.
Right.
I don't know. Like, the bottom line is, I know people are ripping the Bears, but the Bears are about to do something that not a lot of teams have been fortunate enough to do when drafting a really good quarterback out of college. And that is having everything ready for you. You know, the Bengals drafted Joe Burrow and they didn't have all their ducks in a row. They waited a year before they got their ducks in a row. And then look what happened. The Bears are, if they take Caleb Williams is coming into they got DJ Moore, not Austin Eckler. They obviously have Keenan Allen. So thank you, Matt. Swift. Swift, like the Bears, I know defense. Everyone's ripping that organization, and rightfully so. They have just botched so much recently, but they have killed it this offseason. And if they get Caleb Williams with all the expectations that they have for him coming in, and they don't have to pay him for 4 years, and you have all this talent around him, and then you could just retain that defense, I think we went from ripping the Bears and making fun of them. I think they're going to be like that Bengals quick turnaround where we could potentially see them in a Super Bowl in a year or two if Caleb Williams is the guy and if they don't decide to keep, Justin Fields as far as that's concerned, which we'll get to where we think he could potentially end up here in a moment. But your thoughts on that? We see good quarterbacks get drafted all the time, but it's always that, let's see if he could do it, and then we'll give him pieces. The Bears are saying, Caleb Williams, we're so confident in you, assuming that's who they go with. Everything's here. Come win now. That ups the pressure on him, no doubt.
Now, I'll be the first one to say that I was banging on the Chicago Bears from the day that they drafted Justin Fields. They didn't have anything in order. Now, this is a different regime. This is not the same GM. This is a different GM. And judging this GM from what he did last year in the draft by trading the number 1 overall pick to the Panthers and gaining an additional pick in the draft, they're stockpiling picks. So they're going to be able to have a whole bunch of young talent. And obviously, there's so much talk about them keeping Justin Fields, but I still believe that they're going to ultimately trade him, draft Caleb at 1, because like you just said, they don't have to pay him anything. They don't have to pay Caleb big money. Like, there's no need to be doing no hemming and hawing here. Go ahead. Even if it's not Caleb, say they wanted Drake May, fine. They could draft Drake May. Still don't have to pay him. They wanted Daniels. Still don't have to pay him. Whomever it is, they should reset the clock on their quarterback so they can get all this additional talent around him. Something that the Bears did not do the first time when they had Justin Fields, or even dating all the way back when they had Mitch Trubisky as their starting quarterback. They didn't do this. So this iteration of the GM and the Chicago Bears are doing things a little bit differently.
Yeah, I went from being way out on the Bears to I'm like, oh, I kind of like what they're doing. And I feel like by going to make that move, you could all they had to give up was a 4th rounder for him. Yeah, but you still got to pay him a lot.
Yeah.
That having to pay him is what knocks that value down. You know what I mean? Like that's what, so it is what it is. So by having to pay him a lot of money and DJ Moore and all these guys, that's what to me screams Caleb Williams, not Justin Fields, because you wouldn't have to pay Justin a lot, but you still have to pay him.
Yeah.
You have to pay him something. So
he gets this contract from this year, and then obviously next year you opt in for the 5th year. That's $20 million. Like, that's a lot of money, especially in a salary cap sport, versus his contract now for like $5 million. Like, yeah. I mean, that's a lot of money, dude.
A lot. So Brian Hetzel, he says wide receiver depth is deep. Good call on Bowers, Kev. You're right. I did not even think. So go back to the Chargers. The Chargers could potentially be looking at following the Chiefs model. Hey, all of our money in resources are on the defensive side of the ball. Fine tune that offensive line. Chargers have an okay offensive line. So they have the offensive line. Mm-hmm. They have, Bosa and Khalil Mack that ended up restructuring their deals to stay.
Yep.
One reason that they did move on, of course, from their guy was because he wouldn't restructure. He wouldn't agree to a restructure. So that's why they sent him to the Bears as far as that's concerned. So Keenan Allen. So with that being said, they could be elite quarterback, offensive line, run game, hopefully an elite tight end for them, and then all their money and resources on defense. That's the Chiefs model. That's what the Chiefs are doing as far as that's concerned. So it's a copycat league. The Chiefs are doing it. If the Chargers make it work, look out. Because that could be the new direction that everyone's going in. We'll see what ends up happening. So lots of big stuff happening there, but one that caught you by surprise, me surprised today, Kenny Pickett out at Pittsburgh. He's traded away. Kenny Pickett is now the new quarterback for whom?
Philadelphia Eagles. He is
Backup.
backing up the one Jalen Hurts.
Interesting move. I thought if you had a black quarterback, you had to have a black backup.
That's normally how it's done.
Like the Browns messed up last year. Like, hold on, we can't have Joe Flacco. We need to get a black quarterback in here to back him up.
I mean, shoot. I mean, before Joe Flacco showed up, they had nothing but a black quarterback room. Same thing with the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, that's normally how it goes. But you know, I was surprised. I was surprised, and this was obviously on the same day that they did the press conference with Russ and all the free agents that the Steelers signed. I was blown away. But reports are coming out about Kenny Pickett's behavior, about how well Mason Rudolph played the last 3 games of the season for the Pittsburgh Steelers that helped him get into the playoffs, and him refusing to be the third string emergency quarterback and refusing to dress, and some of the things, how he handled the media and the scrums and things of that nature. And then him saying he didn't want to be a backup and didn't want to, quote unquote, compete for the job, basically saying, hey, if I was the quarterback last year, I lost my job due to injury, I should get it right back. Well, all the baseball people, we hear this for years and years and years. Wally Pipp, like, hey, man, it is what it is. You lost the job. The other guy came in there, no matter how, people feel about Mason Rudolph, the dude played way better than you did. He was throwing for 250 while you were throwing for 90. Like, we all can do math. And now we're about to go get a quarterback. No matter if I think like, Russell's over the hill, there's no doubt in my mind that even an over the hill Russell is better than you. You don't want to be here. Get out. We want volunteers, not hostages. I'm good with it.
So now that creates a very interesting situation because you talked about Mason Rudolph. Well, Mason Rudolph, he finished the season for the Steelers, helped push them into the playoffs, but he's no longer there. He's now a quarterback with the Titans, correct? Yeah. So he's out. So now Kenny Pickett's gone. So now, and then Mitch Trubisky was signed by the Bills. So now,
thank God he's not.
You have Russell Wilson, and that's it. So Kev and I were talking earlier, and all of a sudden, the quarterback market for a particular former Buckeye quarterback that we thought was basically drowning out, now all of a sudden, there is a very clear path for the Steelers, who got the draft pick with the trade of Kenny Pickett, that could in return go get home to be in that quarterback room, Kev.
Mr. Justin Fields, come on down. Look, man, this is a perfect landing spot for him. Come in to the Pittsburgh Steelers, be the backup quarterback to Russell, get your bearings about you, and then we do a 1-2 year situation with Russ. You are the next quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Go ahead, make this happen. We absolutely have nobody in the quarterback room. There's Russell and nobody else. I mean, I joked earlier that, hey, man, I played quarterback in middle school. I mean, they want to give me a call. I can be the backup, but I would prefer having Justin Fields as the backup quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I see that as a good landing spot for him. And a good situation. I mean, shoot, we were just talking about this yesterday about Justin Fields basically scrapping, trying to be a starter and try to land in a spot like Kansas City as a backup or Philadelphia as a backup. Get with a quote unquote quarterback guru and get your wits about you and then hit the free agency market afterwards. I think this is a good landing spot for him. He was always connected to Arthur Smith with rumors when Arthur Smith was the head coach in Atlanta to be traded there. We know how Coach Tomlin feels about him. Arthur Smith likes him. I think this is a no-brainer. I think this deal should happen yesterday. I think this should happen before we head the pillow tonight. The Steelers need to make that happen tonight.
That'd be a very good quarterback room because of it would be, for one, he's a good backup, but a very, very good backup considering you know what you think you're getting with Russell, but you have no clue as far as that's concerned. So lots of wild stuff. I will say this about the Steelers. A couple weeks ago, you were adamant, not you, but like a lot of people, because the way the Steelers operate, it's probably going to be Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett again. Like it's going to be those two. Like, and the fact
I
that
was beyond adamant, I just knew it. I was like, this is a waste of time to even be talking about. They're not going to do this. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do this. And to the new GM's credit, he's shaking things up. And maybe this is something that Coach Tomlin has wanted to do for quite some time as opposed to going with the status quo. I like this behavior from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I encourage it because what you said, has been right. Like, we're just banging our head against the wall. We know we're going to win games. Like, this is just what we do. Well, fine, that's great. But, like, all right, are we trying to win the big prize? And ultimately, that's what we all root for sports for, is to win the big prize. I mean, the regular season is great. Playoffs are even greater. But the Lombardi is why they play. So put yourself in a position to do so. And I appreciate this from the new staff with Steelers.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to give kudos to the Steelers, because my biggest gripe about them is, it's like, are you more obsessed with keeping Mike Tomlin's win streak, of seasons above 500 going, or are you going to be obsessed with improving your roster to actually go to that next level? Because the Steelers have been driving me nuts every year. It's just about Mike Tomlin never having an under 500 season. I'm like, I don't, like, as a Browns fan, good, just keep that streak going. Just don't win anything. Don't, whatever. But I'm like, that's annoying. I feel like Steelers fans should be demanding more from their organization, but it's, you guys have had you've been framed to just basically accept the fact that it's the Steeler way. That's why if I'm a fan of a team that has a Steeler way or a Patriot way or a way, I hate that. I think that's dangerous, because sports constantly change. And if you're going to be stubborn like the Patriots, that's why they went out and got Mayo, and they've changed up a lot of their stuff too. Like, Belichick leaving is a good thing. And I'm glad that it didn't take Mike Tomlin leaving for them to change up the Steeler way, even though I hate the Steelers as a Browns fan. But just as a football, analyzing football from where we're sitting, I think that this is a good thing. Pittsburgh needed to change things up. But the more things change, the more they stay the same. They still put all their money and resources on the defensive side of the ball. But they don't have as many holes on the offense too now. So we'll see what ends up happening when it's all said and done.
All their offensive players are still on their rookie contract outside of Russell. And like you always talk about, when you don't have to pay a quarterback anything, you can spend money big elsewhere. So I'm good with it. But, this would be the year we go under 500 that I'm happy with the offseason. I'm like, oh, man, we're killing the offseason, man. We're doing it. And goes 6-11.
The new Steeler way. I like it nonetheless. All right. Thoughts on Aaron Donald retiring?
Wow.
That has been big today too.
Huge. I mean, obviously 3-time defensive player of the year, 10 Pro Bowls, complete animal. Obviously got a Super Bowl.
He did. He did.
The Rams beat the Bengals.
Who they beat? Who they beat to win that Super Bowl?
The Bengals. But I think the biggest free agency addition, in my humble opinion, is Hollywood Brown to the Chiefs. I think that's scary for everybody in the AFC, man. Like, I think that Hollywood Brown, you bring that speed element back to that offense. No, he's not as good or as fast as Tyreek Hill, but you have that threat, and he's running that over route. You're clearing everything else out underneath for Kelsey. Like, they ran that crosser route to perfection with his speed and the addition of Rice there. Now he's going into his second year. Like, it can get scary on offense again for the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, imagine them, that offense they used to have with the defense they got now. Like, it might get scary for everybody out there.
That's what I've always said too. Like, Bengals fans get so caught up in Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins. We got to keep T and Jamar together. We got to get Justin Jefferson. We got to get Stephon Diggs. Apparently, he's being rumored of, he's scrubbed his social media and has basically announced he's leaving. Bengals fans jumping on that. Stephon Diggs to Cincinnati, ? It's like, I know that sounds great on Madden. That sounds great, but that's not reality. And the Chiefs are proof that, okay, you need pass catchers, yes, but you could put a good receiving core together and not have the elite of the elite. I really like the Browns receiving core. I like Jerry Jeudy and Amari Cooper. I like that tandem right there. I like David Njoku. I think that collectively, I love what the Browns have. I like what the Chiefs are doing. Now, the Bengals have more flash with T and Jamar. So there's that. But at the same time, it's hard to sustain that and also keep money and resources on the defensive side of the ball. Kev, where are we going to be on Sunday?
Oh, man, it's going down. I can't wait for this. Look, we're going to be doing a big bracket reveal show over there at the Raceway, over there on Needmore Road, very close to my house, by the way. And it's St. Patrick's Day, too. So this is like a 2-for-1 type of situation. Come hang out with us. We got prizes to give away. We're going to be giving away Reds tickets, going to give away T-shirts, and we're just going to have a good time, a great time, because we're going to find out where UD falls in the bracket, and then we're going to do some picks as well. And last year, I got nobody right. I got nobody in my Final Four, so hopefully I do better this year.
Yes, by the way, our bracket challenge presented by Titan Graphics is up at wingam.com. Now, obviously, you can't make your picks now, but if you want to work ahead, you want to register and get all that stuff taken care of so that the second the bracket's revealed, you can get your picks submitted. $100 in Frickers Bucks awarded to the tournament winner. Plus, if you fill out a perfect bracket, what do you win, Kev?
Millie.
That's simple. Just pick
millie,
out
a millie.
You know what would happen though? Because Kevin and I aren't allowed to win. I'll quit. I don't care. I really do not care. Kevin and I aren't allowed to win the contest and stuff we do. So I'm going to be really pissed off because I fill out multiple brackets. By the way, I'm one of those guys.
Shame on
I know.
you.
So if I fill out the perfect bracket at wingam.com and I can't win that $1 million, I will quit. I will call my boss every name in the book. I'll do everything I can to get fired.
What about
and then say I need to get my cut. That's what it all comes down to. With that being said, Kenner and Kev bracket reveal special Sunday, 5 to 7 p.m. at Hollywood Gaming. Can't wait to see you guys there. Dayton Hoopla providing us with some giveaways as well. So pretty jacked about that. March Madness is officially here. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The forecast, partly cloudy and 36 tonight. Saturday, it's sunny and 62, and Sunday, it's mostly sunny and 49. I'm Rick Shrimp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Frickers tips off the season with a trio of fan favorites. Frickers Street Tacos are back for a limited time. While you enjoy the march to the national championship of college basketball on Frickers TVs, you'll savor the flavor of 3 Frickers Street Tacos. Frickin' Chicken Tacos, Grilled Chicken Tacos, and Mississippi Barbecue Tacos are back for a limited time. While your brackets get busted, smash a personal picture of domestic draft for only $6.99. Hurry before time runs out at the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Hey, let me tell you about the advantages of driving with my friends at Cordell Transportation. First of all, for the new year, they're offering brand new equipment to drive. They purchased new equipment, and not a lot of people could say that, but they've got it, and they're ready to roll with you. Cordell Transportation is offering an incredible $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months. If you're an experienced Class A CDL driver looking for excellent benefits, home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freights, then apply today online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Kettering Overhead Door thanks our local police, firefighters, and medical staffs for their courage and the sacrifices they make to keep our community a safe place to live, work, and raise our families. This reminder courtesy of the employees at Kettering Overhead Door at 4155 Hempstead Station in Kettering, where the professionals make windows, doors, and overhead doors. Call 937-293-6477. That's 937-293-6477 for Kettering Overhead Door. They care about the safety and future of the first responders who proudly serve our community and wish everyone a safe and happy year.
It's time, basketball bettors. It's March Mania. Justin Kinner here to tell you about BetUS.com. I endorse one sportsbook and casino, and that's BetUS.com. They've been driving to the basket for over 30 years. This year, BetUS has an epic three-pointer, a 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. That's right, the industry's craziest 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gamblers insurance. And there's even more. BetUS accepts crypto and is offering a massive 200% crypto sign-up bonus. Gamblers insurance and crypto. You don't see that everywhere. March Mania basketball can get even more exciting with their live in-game betting. It's also a blast to check out their casino after the game, where you could get a 250% casino bonus. Get started by visiting BetUS.com or give them a call at 1-800-MyBetUS to learn about all of their bonuses and special offers. BetUS, where the game begins.
Okay, pull over, sit down, stop what you're doing, because you're about to be blown away. I shopped Kohl's Friends and Family Sale, and wow, I saved 20% with my coupon on really great picks for spring, like a cute dress for just $23.99. Plus, I got my husband a polo for under $11. But that's not it. Then I saved 40% on Easter outfits for my kids and earned Kohl's cash. So, yep, it's official. Kohl's is the best. Select styles, 20% offer ends March 17th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
A lot can happen between falling in love with a house online and owning it, between imagining living there and breathing in your new home for the first time. Having an advocate who can help you navigate the complex world of financing, inspections, negotiating, analyzing the market, and talking through any anxieties that may pop up, that can make all the difference. That's what the expertise of a Realtor can do for you. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors and bound by a code of ethics, because that's who we are.
You know, I grew up hearing that women are bad with money, but like many of you, I spent years paying bills, managing checking accounts, and taking care of my family. So turns out women are pretty good with money after all. And now I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement. It's never too late to start, and there's a great website to help you. Check out WeSaySaveIt.org and jumpstart your retirement savings on your budget and your timeline. That's WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
This year, wouldn't it be great to stop dealing with thin, brittle, shedding hair and instead have the thick, healthy, gorgeous hair you've always wanted? Well, now you can by using Hair Volume from New Nordic. Hair Volume is the all-natural solution trusted by millions of women around the world to say goodbye to thin, brittle, shedding hair. Look for Hair Volume at your local Walgreens and CVS or online at Amazon.com or NewNordicUSA.com. Go to NewNordicUSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Hair Volume at your local Walgreens or CVS.
9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring today. Robert Half is here to help. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit RobertHalf.com today.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Cordell Transportation has more advantages than ever before, including brand new equipment. That's right. Plus excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply now at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
This statement has not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
When it comes to my lifestyle and diet, I don't always make the smartest choices.
Touchdown! Woo! Hey, how about another round and some more chips?
But when it comes to taking care of my liver, I do make one very smart choice. Active liver tablets from New Nordic. I used to have real issues with my liver, and at my last checkup, my doc was concerned about my numbers. But since adding a once-a-day active liver tablet, my gut's better, I feel great, and my doctor's happy. I ask a lot of my liver, so the least I can do to say thanks is a daily dose of Active Liver.
You ask a lot of your liver, so give it the support it needs with Active Liver. You can find Active Liver at Amazon.com, or for a volume discount, visit NewNordicUSA.com. Go to new, NORDICUSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. New year, new you. New Nordic.
Hungry for a great time? Maybe some great food? Then come on down to your neighborhood Submarine House. Try our oven-toasted deli subs, our mouth-watering salads, pizzas, appetizers, and more. And wash them down with a unique selection of craft beers while watching the big game on our big screens. With locations around Dayton, in Columbus, and our newest sports bar in Kettering, you're never far from a Submarine House. Subs, sports, spirits, Submarine House.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth, and if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-709-7022. 800-709-7022. 800-709-7022.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Did you know that although our name may be Carol Works Tire, we're more than tires? We're one of the leading service centers in the area, from personal vehicles to fleet maintenance. We'll keep you on the road. Come see us at Carol Works Tire. Did you know that Carol Works specializes in servicing mixed fleet vehicles? We keep your business moving by tailoring our service programs to meet your company's specific needs. Let us keep your fleet on the road with Carol Works Tire.
All right, welcome back. Justin Kinner with you here, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. Happy Friday. If you missed our conversation with Clark Kellogg, talking all things March Madness, of course, we have that coming up for you here, top of the hour. Ohio State, number 18, Illinois, quarterfinal action of the Big Ten tournament, of course. Ohio State trying to continue to advance through the Big Ten tournament and go on a run. Look, I think their tournament chances are very, very bleak. In fact, they're impossible unless you win the Big Ten tournament. It's a very mid-major approach for Ohio State at this point. This is exactly why I said the Chris Holtmann firing was kind of silly, because even though Ohio State's on a hot streak right now, I'm not really sure what you accomplish with this hot streak if it doesn't result in you making the NCAA tournament. And if you fall just short of making the NCAA tournament, to me, that means that's still a bad decision on Gene Smith. Gene Smith made the bad decision to bring Chris Holtmann back, and I'm saying this saying I like Chris Holtmann, but knowing that it wasn't going to work, why bring him back and risk it at all? And if you were going to move on from him at any point, why do it with 6 games to go in the regular season? Because now what you've done is you got everyone's hopes up when you should have just left everyone down to begin with. I don't know. It just seems kind of odd nonetheless. But Ohio State, Illinois coming up, a big one tonight. Ohio State, the 6.5-point dog. Kevin, I feel pretty confident about Ohio State's chances coming up later on this evening as well. But these conference tournaments have been a lot of fun thus far. We talked about Dayton earlier getting knocked out. Disappointing. It's at the point now where it's like they'll never win this dang conference tournament. And I guess the big question is I have for fans, what is your expectations for Dayton basketball? Like, what is it? Is it this? Be ranked, compete at the top of the conference, have a shot to win the tournament, just get to the NCAA tournament? Because that's the vibe I get from a lot of fans. Well, we're Dayton. We're in the A10. It's cool just to be in the conversation with the big boys. Hey, we're ranked, cherry on top. We're making the tournament. That's all we care about. Don't care what we do when we get there, as long as we're in the tournament. Is that fair? Is that fair? Now, again, the athletic director, Neil Sullivan, has said before that the expectations for the Flyers are to be an NCAA tournament team. So as critical as I have been this season, I guess technically at the end of the day, they accomplished what their goal is, to be an NCAA tournament team. So they've accomplished that, I guess. So is that the bare minimum? You don't care how it gets done, just get there. You don't care if you win a conference tournament. You don't care if you win the league. If you're top 25, great, but you don't care if you don't look like a top 25 team, even if you have a number in front of your name. Like, what is a fair, realistic expectation? Because the thing that drives me nuts is moving that goalpost throughout. Moving the goalpost throughout the season, to me, is very hypocritical. You know, when they first got, they cracked the top 25, it was, we're top 25. We're great. We're awesome. You're on the 4 seed. There was a talk of potentially Dayton playing their way up to the 3 seed, possibly a 2. They were rolling. So to get to the point to where you were at the 4, flirting with the 3, and now dropping all the way to the 9, possibly 10, and I don't think it'll be 10. I think it'll still be a single-digit seed. That is kind of concerning. But again, I'm being too critical because according to Neil Sullivan, all that matters is just getting to the NCAA tournament. So if that's what it's all about, then fine. Congratulations, great season. But it just still feels very deflating right now because things just haven't been clicking and rolling in the direction that you would like it to, as far as that's concerned, nonetheless. But I guess at the end of the day, you get a little bit of a breather, a little bit of a break, that week off. I mean, what's today? Today's Friday. Jeez, I don't even know what day it is. Today's Friday. They lose last night. So, they're going to get a week off. They might get more. They might get 8 days off, depending if they get scheduled to play on Friday. The good thing is, they barely beat VCU in overtime. I don't know if it's good or bad or not. Look, Dayton can't win on the road. They struggle to win on the road, but they can't lose at home. I'm here to tell you, I think that the dagger in the Flyers season was beating VCU at home last week. Beating VCU at home has prevented them from being in a position to get an 11 seed. If they could get that 11 seed, they could potentially be first 4. If they could be first 4, it's a home game. If they have a home game, they can win a game. You know what I mean? Like, I know I'm kind of twisting it a little bit, you guys, but I think you guys understand what I'm trying to say as far as that's concerned. But we talked about the teams. We're talking about a Nebraska. We're talking about a Northwestern. We're talking about a Boise State. Those are the teams that are in line for that 8-9 matchup as we currently sit here right now. And that's unfortunate because they went from being able to play mid-major teams that they should beat up on and advance, to now potentially being an underdog, even if they are a higher seed. Like, we don't know what's going to happen, but still feel good about being in the tournament. I'm not trying to water that down, but it just seems it's just kind of bleh right now. So, nonetheless, Brian Hetzel says, had 5 days off and sucked. More time off won't do us any favors. Yeah, that's a good point, too, especially with getting Bennett back. Like, having a guy come off injury, I thought that would help a little bit. But, yeah, I don't know the science behind that, if rest actually helps. To Kev's point a little bit ago, this isn't the NBA. If it's the NBA and players get rest, they're older, they're veteran players, they're more banged up. But we're talking about 18 to 22-year-olds. Maybe rest is overrated as far as that's concerned. Now, we're not talking about having to win like a conference tournament where you have to win, especially if you don't get a great seed in that tournament, you have to win like 4 games in 5 or 4 games in 4 days or whatever. Chase Carter says, winning the A10 regular season, making the tournament, and surviving the first week of the tournament for me is the expectation. Now, Chase, let me ask you, I don't think it's fair to expect them to win the regular season tournament or the regular season every year. You know, I do think finishing top 3 is fair. I think I'm a little bit more critical. Like I said, everyone thinks I'm just out there trolling. I'm not. If the number wasn't in front of their name, I would not be as aggressive as I am. If they weren't the number 24 team, the number 16 team, the number 21 team, the number 25 team, if they weren't any of those numbers ranking-wise, losing to VCU is not a big deal. That's a good A10 Dayton team losing to a good A10 VCU team. But when they got that number in front of their name, I had a hard time giving them that good A10 versus good A10 opponent treatment. Because when you look at the net rankings, okay, when you look at the offense and you look at the defensive stat, you look at all that stuff, you put it all together, Dayton should not be hanging around with teams in the A10. But that's always been my biggest complaint is there's so many fans that talk about them joining the Big East, but they don't even dominate the A10. That's always my big frustration. Not hating. I think those are fair evaluations. That's fair analysis when it comes to this group. But top 25, they should have won the league this year. They should have won the league. They should not have been knocked out of the quarterfinals of the A10 tournament. You know, the one thing I'll give Dayton, and I would be more forgiving of Dayton for losing in the conference tournament had they won the regular season, because to me, like tonight for Ohio State, Illinois, they're in the NCAA tournament. It doesn't matter. Like they're not, their competitive juices are going to be rolling because they want to win the Big Ten tournament. But if they lose, they're not playing with that same urgency that Ohio State's playing for their NCAA tournament lives tonight. Illinois is just playing to hopefully add a Big Ten title to their resume tournament wise. But if not, they're going to be dancing. So That's why I would be more forgiving of Dayton for losing the A-10 tournament had they won the regular season because, hey, they dominated the A-10. They got upset in the A-10 tournament. Who cares? They're playing a team that's playing for their postseason lives while Dayton's already looking ahead to theirs. Basically, every game for Dayton in the A-10 tournament's a trap game because they know there's life on the other side of the A-10 tournament. You can't say the same thing for, say, Bonaventure. You can't say the same thing, for VCU and for Richmond and for, teams like that, even as good as Richmond was. Loyola, I love Loyola. I was pulling for him last time. I'm a big, I don't know, I'm a big Loyola fan, but there's just something about Loyola. I really like them. I really hope that Dayton Loyola are VCU's that A-10 rival for Dayton. I hope that Loyola develops into that as well. I love that matchup. There's just a different energy when those two teams play, especially Dayton, who's made history, made a story going in those deep tournament runs over the last decade, and then you see Loyola go to a Final Four. There's just something about those two teams I really like. As far as that's concerned. Nonetheless, let's go down. Brian Hetzel says, with the resources UD has, you're right, they should dominate. And they should. I don't think I'm being unrealistic when I say when I'm not impressed when they don't overpower the A-10. That's just the reality of it. And man, VCU good. Obviously, they split with them this season. Obviously, George May. You could make an argument like Dayton didn't have a bad loss in the A-10 outside of George Mason. George Mason was an unacceptable loss to me. But losing to Richmond, there's nothing to feel bad about losing to Richmond. But when you're ranked, I have a problem with it. When you're ranked and you lose to VCU, I have a problem with it. When you're ranked and you lose to Loyola, I have a problem with it. I just think that ranking was the biggest problem as far as that's all said and concerned. But all right, good stuff. Dayton, we just got to wait till Sunday. Coming Sunday, we'll find out who Dayton is playing, what seed they are in. And I think at the end of the day, here's the deal. I don't know about you. I'm not a Dayton Flyers fan. And you guys know that, right? I'm not going to pretend to be I don't like radio hosts who go to a city to do a show and they pretend to be a fan of that team just to engulf themselves. I have to be who I am. I'm going to be me. And sometimes that's to a fault for you guys. And I get that. But at the same time, I am pulling for every local team here. If Xavier makes it, I'm pulling for Xavier. Cincinnati, pulling for them. Ohio State, of course I'm pulling for them. Wright State, you bet your ass, right? That's who I am. But if you guys think I'm rooting for Dayton to lose, you guys are wrong. That I can promise you. You guys think I hate them. You guys think I'm a hater. That's fine. I promise you, I do not want them to lose for the sake of content. It is from a content calendar, I lay out. So Kev and I, we have a content calendar when we do this show, right? The dream content calendar is this. Ohio State football from September through early January, right? Dayton and Wright State hopefully take us from January to mid to late March. And then the Reds take over in April and then take us all the way back to the top of the clock. That is my dream scenario. That is, as a program director here for Wing, as an on-air radio host, my dream content calendar is a good Dayton team that goes all the way deep into mid-March, end of March, right? Wright State make the tournament, Ohio State make the tournament, and then we're high on college basketball. Those seasons come to an end, and now we have anticipation for a great Reds season. And now instead of the Reds season coming to an end at the end of April, now they're going to take us all the way into July and August and September, and then back to the Browns and Bengals and Buckeyes. That is my dream. So I promise you, for those of you out there who say, oh man, you hate when Dayton's good, I promise you, professionally, I am not. I don't act professional, but professionally, from a job perspective, yes, I need them to be good. So that's why when I see Anthony Grant not doing a good job, I say, hey, come on, you're ruining my content calendar, dude. Get your stuff together. You have Deron Holmes. You had Deron Holmes and Tumani Kamara last year and had nothing to show for it. Come on now. I don't think I'm being a hater. I'm being a realist, but it is what it is. I'm excited for Sunday. I think all the everyone's kind of down right now with Dayton, but I think when that bracket comes out, when you see who Dayton's playing, when the travel arrangements, because a lot of you Flyer fans are going to travel, and I appreciate that about you guys. I think all of a sudden the buzz is going to pick back up. Everyone's a little hungover right now, but that buzz is going to pick up big time when that bracket is revealed coming up on Sunday night, nonetheless. And speaking of Sunday night, Kev Nash and I, the Kinner and Kev Show bracket reveal special. We're going to be live at Hollywood Gaming, doing a special from 5 to 7 p.m., previewing the bracket, talking about the potential, seed line for the Flyers and everything. And then, of course, reacting to the bracket. How many Ohio teams are going to get in, and what are some of the surprise upsets. We'll have another conversation. We're going to talk again with Clark Kellogg on Sunday night. Pretty excited about that as well. Clark Kellogg, awesome enough to give us some time today as well. If you missed that interview, Give us about 5 minutes, and we'll have that for you coming up on the other side. Appreciate you. It's the Kinner and Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. After our conversation with Clark Kellogg, we'll have Ohio State basketball for you right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Happy Friday.
Menards has the best in-stock selection of AC2 pressure-treated decking and lumber. AC2 pressure-treated thick decking is 15% thicker than standard 1-inch decking, providing a stronger, more durable deck surface. Plus, get free estimates fast in-store or online with our deck design programs. And conveniently pick up your materials in our drive-through lumber yard. Head into Menards and get started on your deck project today.
Save big money at Menards.
The NCAA First Four returns to the epicenter of college basketball. Dayton and the Big Hoopla support our military community and aim to give back. Starting Selection Sunday, March 17th, enjoy a full day of family fun at the Big Hoopla 4-miler race and the free STEM Challenge championed by Wright State University. Then tip off the madness with the First Four at UD Arena March 19th and 20th. Visit DaytonHoopla.com for more info. The First Four, Dayton, and the Big Hoopla, the road starts here.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
At Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, we've always been famous for more. More than a time-tested recipe that took decades to develop. More than our secret blend of savory herbs and spices. More than the hand-dipped, hand-battered, fried to perfection chicken you've come to know and love. Because while you may not know it yet, Lee's is famous for fish, too. Get a tasty fish fillet, crispy potato wedges, creamy tartar sauce, and a regular drink at a great price. Only at Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken.
Urology Specialists of Ohio are here for you. Men, your good health is important to them. Their knowledge of specific male anatomy, prostate issues, and how to help in your healing is their main focus. Urology Specialists of Ohio are now accepting new patients at all locations: Beaver Creek, Springfield, Urbana, Xenia, and London. They have been in practice for over 20 years with over 80 years of experience between 5 physicians. Call today. They can schedule your appointment in a timely manner with little wait time. Online at urologyspecialistofohio.com.
KFC's new Smashed Potato Bowl is smashed with fries, mashed potatoes, cheese, and bacon, and it's only $3.49. It's finger-licking good.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Frickers tips off the season with a trio of fan favorites. Frickers Street Tacos are back for a limited time. While you enjoy the march to the national championship of college basketball on Frickers TVs, you'll savor the flavor of 3 Frickers Street Tacos. Frickin' Chicken Tacos, Grilled Chicken Tacos, and Mississippi Barbecue Tacos are back for a limited time. While your brackets get busted, smash a personal pitcher of domestic draft for only $6.99. Hurry before time runs out at the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Frickers.
You know, I grew up hearing that women are bad with money. But like many of you, I spent years paying bills, managing checking accounts, and taking care of my family. So turns out women are pretty good with money after all. And now I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement. It's never too late to start, and there's a great website to help you. check out WeSaySaveIt.org and jumpstart your retirement savings on your budget and your timeline. That's WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if there is a murderer walking among us? Follow the clues. Solve the mystery.
This village really is a place where murder is easy.
Agatha Christie's Murder is Easy, a brand new BritBox original series, is streaming now, adding to the largest collection of Agatha Christie, including Miss Marple, Poirot, Why Didn't They Ask Evans, and more.
The whole collection, it is magnificent.
Stream the best of British TV, only on BritBox. Start a free trial at BritBox.com.
Have you ever told a friend
Oh, I'm fine.
when you really felt,
Just so overwhelmed.
or sent a text
Can't sleep. Are you awake?
when you couldn't find the words to say?
I'm scared to be alone with my thoughts right now.
Then this is your sign to reach out to the 988 Lifeline for 24/7 free confidential support. You don't have to hide how you feel. Text, call, or chat anytime.
9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring today. Robert Half is here to help. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Forecast partly cloudy.